to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's grab a beverage of your choice. Because today we will be reviewing Eerie, the collection, volume 2, which collects issues 6 through 10. It's one of the old Warren magazines of horror stuff. This is here's the front side, so the Eerie Archives, the back. Alright, and it is a nice collection of old horror stories with a Frazetta cover. The series editor is Archie Goodwin. A lot of you might know him from Marvel, I think it is most of the time. But the writers are Archie Goodwin, Johnny Craig, and as Jay Tacey, Buddy Saunders, Alan Jadrow, and Bill Pearson. The artists are Frazetta, Gray Marrow, John Stevens, Reed Campbell, Steve Ditko, Mark Rickton, Angelo Torres, Johnny Craig, and as Jay Tacey. And just a whole, like Neil Adams, and a whole bunch of other people. You've got a bunch of really fun stories. If you are familiar with these types of stuff, it is kind of, if you remember the old EC comics that they did back pre-code, little short horror stories with a little twist at the end. So these are more modern. These are post-code, and they are black and white. So they aren't as well, first of all, they're black and white, and they aren't as gory. Because if you look at some of the stuff from EC back in the day, those had some pretty gory stuff. But you have the little, little setup, little short, little story, and a twist at the end. Usually, with the bad guy getting his due in dying or whatever, and it just has a really interesting variety of subjects, from vampires, werewolves, ghosts, stuff like that, voodoo, and just like criminals getting their due. And then if you just look at the art, some of them are, there's a variety of different artists. So you have stuff like this right here, and as you can see, some of these are a bit wordy. And then like hitchhike horror, So you get stuff like this, the black and white really helps with the mood. Like this one is a really moody story, and the different art styles is half as interesting as the stories. Just to see, how it is done. I mean, not how it's done, but just the way it's drawn is so visually stimulating a lot of the times that sometimes it's better than the actual story. Because some of the stories, as with everything, some are a lot better than others. And some stories, the art's better. But it is just, every once in a while you hit that sweet spot where the art is just incredible and the story is just incredible. And that's half the fun, is reading these things through, you know, getting that little messed up story, you know. They're all kind of, you know, interesting in some way or another. But you're just getting these stories where it's like, damn, this art is just creepy. And then, you know, it just seems like a regular story, and then boom! This kind of, you know, twist, messed up ending that you don't see coming. Just makes it all the more satisfying, because it's only, you know, 5 to 10 pages at most. Because, you know, you have, you know, just, what, 5 issues in here. And, you know, so you have, you know, almost 300 pages for 5 issues. So they're, you know, you only have a few pages per issue. But my favorite story in here is, and it was done, Archie Goodwin wrote it. Here we go. Isle of the Beast. Art by Steve Ditko and script by Archie Goodwin. So that's a pairing right there. And these books came out in, let me see, 66, 67. So these are maybe right around the time of them working in Marvel, or maybe a little bit before. But Isle of the Beast. Now this is, it is, how many of you have read The Most Dangerous Game? Okay, if you aren't familiar with the short story, you're familiar with, there's been plenty of movies that have been done based on this book. Alright, so here's the story. There's a guy, his ship was sunk, and he survives, and he drifts to an island, right? And when he gets to the island, he gets met on the beach by a guy. The guy takes him to his house and to show him. He's like, "Oh, I'm a hunter, you know. Let me show you my trophies." And so he sees all these, you know, hunting things. But there's also people in there too. And he's like, the guy who's giving the tour says, "Have you ever read The Most Dangerous Game?" He says, "You know, this is basically me. I get tired of, you know, dealing with just hunting animals. I got too good at it, so I started hunting people." So he'd release them on island. He'd arrange for the ships to be sunk, or however he did that, and they'd come and he'd hunt them on the island. This is, but the twist in this one is he's like, I got so good at that even began to bore me. So he was a kind of a mad scientist, and he made it so he could put some like animal genes or whatever in him, so he didn't need weapons, right? So he became sort of, he had the animal senses, and he'd use those to hunt the people on the island. So he took it a step further, right? But the fun part about this, it didn't, there was a little castaway line in there, or a couple times in the story, that it didn't hit me right away why it was there, but they kept saying that it was a full moon. So he's chasing the dude, and and like I said, the twist is, so the evil bad guy is hunting him, And at the end, it turns out the guy that's being hunted is a werewolf. So he switches when the moon comes up, and he gets the bad guy at the end. And that was my favorite story of all of them that are in this book. And so it's things like that are, twists like that are just so fun to read, and it's worth every second of reading these things because they're just so interesting. And then one of the also neat things about this is they have the original ads reprinted in them too. So you get to see, 500 horror photos in each story, only 35 cents each. Like Mole People, Horror of the Beach Party, and The Curse of Frankenstein, and The Horror of Dracula. Just all these little, they're scattered throughout these stories, and they have the letter pages, and so that's if you're into old horror stories like this, EC and even like creepy or eerie and stuff like that, this is a great thing to have, and I highly suggest that you get it. So let me know what you think of them, if you have ever read them, and what your favorite story in whatever issue you read was. So anyway, like, subscribe, and most of all, enjoy your horror comics.